Okay, I'm going to set up my camera. I have to plug it in, and I'm going to wait for a few people to come in because I have to start telling my story. The proof of what we do when we choose to do evil. And this is from a Christian standpoint, from a biblical. You don't have to believe like I believe, but you may want to consider that what I'm going to tell you, these stories, may have some merit. So hold on, just hang on. I'll be right back. It's epic. We have Pella doors and windows and sliding glass doors, and I hate them. They're hard to open and hard to deal with. So you have to unhook something. But I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell some stories, true stories about what happened to me when a couple of people were very cruel and mean to somebody. Come on, Mary, come in. And I don't think exposing and telling a story about what someone is doing, such as what one creator has been doing, being horribly mean to another. I don't know anything about Natasha. I've never subscribed to her channel. I've never watched her channel. I don't know anything about her, so I cannot judge what she is doing or done. And if it's true, people saying she's scamming people, I cannot pass judgment because I don't know. I haven't been part of that. So our birds, I scared the birds away. They'll be here. So as soon as somebody comes in, I will let me know if you're here. Somebody's here. Oh, hey. Where are all of you, huh? Charge $2.99 covered charge. Huh. I scared the birds away. Well, I'll put this back here. Let's get my computer out of the sunshine. What a beautiful view. I can't believe we live in this house. It's an older house. It's 40-something years old. It's got a guest house, 1,100 square foot guest house. And we have somebody that wants to move in. And rent. So I'm going to go around the corner. Now the birds are all over here. Come on. Come on, you guys. Can I get some more seeds? I have incredible birds in my area. It's just beautiful. I even have some cedar waxwings and a couple of, ooh, here comes. Okay, this is Niger thistle that the American goldfinches love. Peanut hearts. I'll put some peanut hearts, peanut butter. Hopefully the blue jays will stay away. Maybe I need to put a buzzword in my thing. Mommy ramblings. Yeah, I think I will. That way people will come. I'm not looking to gain subs, but if you want to sub, that would be nice. I'm not going to try to monetize or make money. Maybe I will. Money off of my YouTube channel. My husband has provided a very, very nice home for us. So let me edit this. Chat about like, and you know who MERB is. Birds and chat about mean people, especially MERB, lose God's protection. Proof. Poof. How do you think that title? Good title. What do you think of that? Liza, hi, sweetheart. Larry's been crying. He says, you got to come back. We will pay for you to go to nursing school. But we know you don't like Oregon. It's too cold for you, and I don't blame you, honey. But you know what times we are married? Then that's a sign you need to come back to Oregon. And Larry will redo the bedroom, the guest bedroom for you, and put in that window seat there in the front and extend it out. And we will get you we'll get you a Toyota Tacoma, big truck like his, but a Toyota Tacoma. And so you'll be safe driving, okay? Not a brand new one. So, and Maddie wants a new one, huh? Yeah. Grandma. Look at this. It's funny. Watch. Bugsy is putting his foot through the window. Can you see it? Buggers! Buggers! He's been sticking his paw through the window there. Now that I got the camera on, he's not doing it. Hello, Monique H. Have I seen you before? You know, I'm old lady, so I don't remember stuff. People say, they said, oh, they were talking about an elderly woman who was 70. And I went, yikes, I'm 70. Does that mean I'm elderly? Oh my gosh. Anyway, we just sent our 2 exchange students home. And Larry and I both came home and we fell apart, crying our eyes out because we're alone. This is the first time we've been alone. And we had Paul for 6-7 years living in the guest house. And then his dementia declined so bad that it was unsafe for him to live by himself. So much work. We paid for everything. He was costing us just too much money, and all I get was his Social Security check, which was like $1,200-1,400. That wasn't enough to pay for his rent and food. So we decided it was time that he go home. to his daughters. So Larry flew him to Tampa, Florida, where his family is. And when he got there, he got problems with his, prostate. No, hernia. He had a hernia. And he ended up having surgery. And surgery for anyone with dementia is not good because it can trigger their brain to fall apart, and that's what happened to Paul. Hold on, I'm getting a better chair. I want to sit and talk because what I have to say is very serious and very relevant to what's going on today across the world. And you look at Putin and Russia, and the hatred he has is just pure jealousy and hatred. And that's, as a Christian, Bible-believing Christian, I believe that is how things got bad on earth, because Satan was jealous of Jesus, and he wanted to be equal or better than Jesus. And so he went around the universe complaining and saying God had done this, God was unfair, God was mean, and God cannot lie, but Satan can, and he did. And it was told that over half of the angels in the universe believed Satan and joined forces with him. But of those half, 15% of them realized that Satan was lying and God forgave them. I'm pretty sure they lost a lot of power within heaven, and things didn't go well with them. But God kicked Satan and his minions out of heaven and banned them to Earth, planet Earth. And then he carried out the plan of salvation, which is Jesus dying on the cross. So that we could have eternal life. Oh, I can't get this chair over here. So, anyway, oh dear, what am I going to do? My back is killing me. I took some pain meds, but it's not really helping that much. Just a second. I'm going to go get a different chair, and I'll be right back, and then I'll tell you my story. You're going to be... It's a disturbing story, but it's true. What took place? Okay, I'm coming back. Okay. Jealousy is a very bad thing. Jealousy creates a lot of evilness, and very bad things. And Satan was jealous of Jesus' position. Even though Jesus was God's son, he was part of him. Satan was not. Satan is not a brother of Jesus. The Mormons, Joseph Smith claims that he, Jesus, and Satan and some of the apostles are all brothers. The Bible doesn't say that, but Joseph Smith does. So be sure to only follow your Bible. You hid Yvette. Did I hide Yvette? Did somebody hide Yvette? Ah, what did I do? Let me see what I did. Can you unhide her? Oh, what a ding dong I am. I gotta stand up and look and see. The chat. How did I hide her? Somebody blocked somebody the other day. Didn't mean to. I'm glad it wasn't me. So, hid you bet. Gorgeous view, isn't it beautiful? I feel like you hid Yvette. Who's Yvette? Message deleted by Zelda. Oh my goodness, what a ding dong. I'm sorry, Yvette. Okay. Is that better? I didn't mean to do that. I don't want to hurt anybody. Yvette, make a post. See what happens. Oh, okay. See, Yvette, post something. Hi, everyone. Monique, message deleted by Zelda. What a ding dong. Maybe in BBT or no. Yikes, because I don't have a ranch. I'm not a wench. I'm not a wench in very many. I think because everybody knows that I'm ding dong right now. Actually, not as ding dong. Okay, Yvette, are you back? Yvette. I blocked her. What a ding dong. Yvette, don't get mad at me. Oh, okay. Okay, I think I unblocked her. Yvette, come back. Somebody let Yvette know. Hail to the no. Oh, I love hail to the no. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. Okay. Let's make sure Yvette is unblocked, because I didn't mean to unblock anybody. And I think I have this computer that has a touch screen, and it will touch something, and I swear my computer's a molester. It touches everything. Jackie Hughes. Where's Pineapple? Okay, somebody, MERB did it. Yes, she did. She did. With her woo-woo. She did it with her woo-woo. So I'm going to tell a few stories that prove I have so many stories that prove that when we act mean and misbehave, that we take away God's protection or karma protection or whatever you want to call it, the spirit guides or whatever, the universe. You put bad juju on yourself when you're full of hatred, when you hate somebody and are nasty. Now I'm worried about Yvette. Oh my, I don't want to offend anybody. So I, okay, I'll tell you. When I grew up really, really poor, and my dad hated my guts. He hated me when when my mom got pregnant with me. Somebody check on Yvette because I feel bad. And anybody else that I accidentally blocked. I don't want her to know, her to think I did that. But please let her know it was all accident. That just tell them I'm an old lady. Somebody does just text Yvette. Oh, I worry about stuff like that because stuff like that used to make me feel bad. Well, it still does. And so I grew up extremely unloved. And when my mom married my dad's Dutch, Irish, German, white, blonde, fair skinned, blue eyed, and his dad had his mom had red hair, green eyes, and his dad was Dutch, fair skinned. And he went to college to this Adventist college, La Sierra University. I don't know how he got in there or why, because he's not that smart. Well, he's brilliant, but he's crazy. And then my mom went there because she's her parents were wealthy. They're wealthy dairymen there in Los Angeles. They owned a dairy in Artesia on Artesia Boulevard, and then in LA Valley and San Fernando Valley. See, that bird is scared of me. But if I go farther away, then I can't speak into the microphone. Now, can you hear me okay? Is my sound all right? Now I'm worried about the people that I blocked. Oh my God. You bet. We'll get you back. What the heck did I do? So, anyway, um, after my mom and dad got married, they were staying in my grandparents' dairy, and my mom said that my dad, now Liz, no parent should tell their child about their conception. And she says they were laying on the living room floor, and Bob kept saying, "Come on, I'll pull out. I won't get you pregnant. I know how to do that." Well, which means he was a hoe. And my mom kept saying, "No, I don't want to get pregnant." Anyway, they had sex, and that's when I got pregnant on my grandparents' floor there in the dairy there in Los Angeles. And so I know what I'm going to do. So he was absolutely pissed to the max when my mom told him that she was 3 months pregnant. Well, his reaction to that was he uh, he stuck out his thumb and he hitchhiked to Florida to his parents and his family. They lived in Fort Myers, Florida, and these people were white trash, and I mean white trash to the max. And my dad kept calling my mom a stupid, and my dad kept calling my mom a stupid I don't know if I could say the word. Messy can. I'm half Mexican. So anyway, I don't want to offend anybody because I am not prejudiced at all. And there. Now where's my phone? Okay, I'm going to go inside and the birds can't see me. There. So he's mad and he takes off and he goes to Florida and he blames my mom for getting pregnant. Well, he's the one that pushed her into having sex. So he called her a stupid messy can and that he was superior, but yet his family was totally white trash. Thieves, they did nothing but steal, lie, cheat, and steal. And there were 17, my dad had 17 brothers and sisters. And, okay, I'm getting a chair so I can sit down. Five of them, their last name was Williams. And five of them were adopted out. You know, I always wonder if I'm related to that case. Come on, Mary Jane, come on. The girls, the Bridge girls, Abigail and all them. So, okay, I'm in the house because it's too hot. Can you hear me okay? So anyway, Bob took off for Florida and left my mom, and she had me when alone. She was all alone. So my whole life I struggled. My mom flew to she took a train to Florida and tried to get Bob to come back with her, and then she came back to California to get me. Hello, Barry Mullen. And everybody else. Oh, I can't say hi to everybody because I can't read. I'm sorry. Please don't be offended. So anyway, she came back to get me and took me to Florida, and he flipped a rod. He said, no babies, no kids. So she had to take me all the way back to California from Florida. They ran out of money. They didn't have enough for train fare, and my mom didn't want to go by herself. So I was drinking formula because my mom wasn't breastfeeding me because she had my grandmother raising me. And I was speaking Spanish, or that was my first language. My grandparents spoke Spanish. So they tried to get a hold of her parents to send some money, but it takes several days. They didn't have MoneyGram in those days. So the only place they had to stay was in the jail. That's one of my stories that I have on YouTube. It's called I was still in diapers and I spent a few nights in jail. And here's the American goldfinches. I think I scared the birds away for a while. So anyway, then I didn't make it back until my mom didn't pick me up until I was about 4, and then she came and got me and took me back to Florida to live with her and my dad's family. And I was being abused in the worst way possible, SA, and my mom blamed me. So we moved all the time. And my grandpa, my dad's father, had worked hard and he had money that he saved up, and he bought this property in Mariloma, which was known as Winesville. Remember the movie The Changeling, about this guy that murdered a bunch of kids in Mariloma, also known as Winesville? Anyway, he bought part of the property where some of the kids were murdered. So that property was tied to evil and murder and child molesting and everything. So that was pretty scary. So we moved every year. I went to a different school. Kindergarten, I didn't finish kindergarten because we moved. Then first grade moved, second grade halfway through, and third grade moved. Then I lived with another family. I lived with the Smith family because one of my dad's partners got sent to prison because they did phony land development scams. My dad was a scam artist. He stole so much money, but always moving. So every year a new school. And I was traumatized from being molested and then always moving. So I couldn't finish a grade. I would sit there in school and just like, and the teacher called me stupid in front of everybody. Well, they wanted me to do some math problem. He showed us how to do a math problem. I was in 6th or 7th grade, and my mom she was living 100 miles away in Sacramento, and she was attending nurses training, and my sisters were living with another family. So I was alone with Bob on this 10-acre house that used to be a converted tavern, and it was spooky. That place had been a tavern, and upstairs had been a brothel. And so I was left alone by myself for days on end while Bob was out gambling and drinking and stuff. And then my mom was gone at 14. And then I'd been kidnapped, drugged, and raped by a 45-year-old man. I met a girl at the swimming pool because my neighbor took me to the swimming pool. But it's a long, involved story. So I was clearly being abused and ignored and shunned, and I felt totally unloved by my family, and I was unloved. And so I got all D's and F's, but I had to figure out how to do this complicated algebra problem. I think it was 7th grade. And so I sat at the table and I had to work it out myself because I didn't have any help from anybody. And I came to the right conclusion, and I showed the teacher what my answer, and he says, well, that's the right answer, but I need to know how you came up with that idea. He says, because, so I showed him. He says, well, either you're Einstein or you're an idiot. And we know that you are not Einstein. And he told me that in front of everybody in the class. It was a combined class. It was Pine Hills Adventist Academy, or Adventist School in Nevada City, Grass Valley. And he had me sit up front. He didn't put a dunce cap on me, but he might as well. And everybody was laughing and making fun of me. And this one girl, Portia Reiswig, her dad owned the local laboratory, so he was rich. They had a 1,200 square foot house on 1 acre, and she had her own bedroom. And I thought, wow, that is rich. And they had a vaulted ceiling, and they had pictures of her putting her Christmas decorations, and they called her Little Lammy. And she made fun of me because I had gone to the church Dorcas and got a beautiful skirt. There was 2 skirts, and one was red, white, and blue, and it had the Nantucket boat area theme, and the other was gold color, kind of fall color, and that had the same pattern. And so I wore that to school for the first day, and Portia, with her little minions, stood around. There were only two girls that were my age. Uh, there was a small school, like maybe 20 kids at the most, and that was for 3 grades. And Portia says, "Ah, ha, ha, look what Cheryl's wearing. That is my aunt gave those skirts away, and she got them from the church Dorcas, and she's wearing them." And I thought, oh my gosh. And I started crying because they were making fun of me. I couldn't help it. And no one was there to help me. My mom. But anyway, so Portia was really cruel. And then a couple of years, then we moved away, of course. And then more stuff happened, and just a new school, a new year. And then we moved down to Loma Linda, and I went to Loma Linda Academy, and our house was flooded. We lost everything. And my mom said God was mad, so they blamed the flood on me. So I was kicked out of the house, had nowhere to go. So I got pregnant. I got raped by this guy. He gave me the HPV virus, and I got pregnant. And it was during a time where Alice Cooper was debuting his song "School's Out for Summer." So here I am, pregnant and 17 years old, nowhere to go, and my parents wouldn't have anything to do with me because I was just a whore. And my mom would tell me I was a whore. So I went to Booth Memorial Hospital for unwed mothers, and that's where I stayed until a few weeks before my son was born. I had a dream, and it says the dream was that God had told me that it was a boy. My child was a baby, and to keep it, and that I would never be able to have another child. And I don't believe in dreams and stuff. I mean, I do, but then I don't uh, say that I have all these prophetic dreams. But that came true. I never had another child, and it was a boy. And I named him, and God told me to name him Timothy, a man of God. And isn't that weird? But anyway, so years on down the road, I was looking through Facebook, and I ran across Portia, that gal that made fun of me. And so I kind of clicked on her. Well, I did. I clicked on her. I snooped, and I wanted to see. So what, what her life was like. And she had a beautiful, beautiful double wide mobile home and 17 cats. I thought, okay. And, she's still seeing me as, a little poor, stupid girl. Both my sisters went to college, and they both have their PhDs, and they're pretty smart. But I dropped out of high school because of me being pregnant, and I didn't choose to get rid of my baby. So I had to pay the consequences for what happened. So then the other two girls that were my age, Carol and Robin, Portia told me, oh, Robin's been married 8 times, and she's a shaman there in Sedona, and here's her information. So I contacted Robin. She says, yeah, she says, come down to Sedona, and I'll do a shaman healing on you. And I'm thinking, I don't think so. And that Carol had problems with drinking and homelessness. So, all 3 of those girls who made fun of me, nothing good came to them. So, but that's not the worst part, the worst thing that happened. The worst part, the story, is Larry likes to engineer stuff. He engineers for Motorola. His whole life he engineers 911 systems and ER radio stuff, and that was his whole life. And also he has degrees in he has a degree in biomedical electronics. I'm proud of him, and I do brag because, and people who brag and talk about themselves, um, you'll find out that the reason they do that is because they're very insecure, and they had a bad life, and they want to prove that they're good. So if I sound braggy, that's why. It's because I don't ever feel like I'm better than anybody else, because I'm not. But that's one of the reasons that happens. Aren't those finches cute? So anyway, um, there was a church that wanted Larry to help teach a series to, because Larry is very good at teaching. Both his family, everybody in his family are educators. His grandparents were uh, educators at the University of Washington in Seattle, and Larry was conceived in the presidential house there at the University of Washington, so he can't help but be smart in Seattle. But anyway, so is there anybody still listening? I don't know if I lost a bunch of you. It says 11 still watching. Thank you for sticking with me. So now I'm going to get to that good story. So Larry was invited to come sign up to teach a class at the Sandy Church that was just being built, and I had helped I like to do stuff, and I had made some meals for the workers and the people that were there building. So I'd take sandwiches and spaghetti and lasagna and things like that, doing my part in helping. Oh, look, there's an eagle. Is that a bald eagle? Can you see it? No, that's a hawk. We have a pair of nesting bald eagles right now. So I tell you, I moved my finch feeding area, and they're all back at the other one. There were about 20 of them that were here until I moved this. I think I'm intimidating them by being here. So anyway, they asked Larry to come to sign up for the class. And there was this one lady, she hated my guts. And her and her husband were wealthy, and they're the ones that financed that whole church. I mean, they put in millions of dollars, and they had a lot of money to give, and we don't have that much. But we could offer our help in putting in the electrical system and building some stuff and the sound system. And so that's what Larry wanted to do. Come on, Max. But she felt threatened by that, and so she didn't like me, and she was always kind of making fun of me. So I'd been in the hospital 21 days. I had a bowel resection. I was very ill, and I had a bleeding aneurysm. Actually, it's not an aneurysm. It's called a arteriovenous malformation. A as in Adam, V as in Victor, M as in Mary, AVM. So if you look up AVM, you'll see. And I'm part of the AVM Society because I survived it. Most people don't survive those. And so I had been bleeding for 3 years, and I had 60 blood transfusions. So I was a mess, and had been very sick, and I hadn't been going to church or doing anything. So Larry wanted me to go with him, and he says, "Oh, that's good." So I decided I would go there with him, and just go in and see the people. So I walked in, and there's this lady. Her name is Vivian, and she smiled at me, and I thought, wow, she's being nice to me. And this was late October, and then she motioned for me to come over to the table where she was, and she had a bunch of her little minions standing next to her cronies. And she says, "Oh, I see you've been gone for a while. It's good to see you." And I said, "Yeah, it's been hard." And she says, "Well, what happened?" I says, "Well, I've been in the hospital for a while." And she goes, "Well, what was your diagnosis?" And I said, "Crohn's disease." Now, Vivian had a physician's assistant. She had a degree, either the one step down from a doctor, physician's assistant, or I forget. Anyway, so she carried a lot of weight, and she was head of Damage State Hospital, which is where the chronically mentally ill stay to get well. So she knew better than to say something publicly to anybody. And she asked me, she says, "Oh, I thought you were in there for mental illness." And I said, "No, why?" And she says, "Well, you weren't in there because you were mentally ill." And I was just shocked that she had said that. And it made me feel bad because I had suffered something horribly and I was sick. I couldn't help being so ill. I lost 45 pounds. I could barely walk. And she says, "Well, you're shaking. And that's a pretty good indication of you taking medication for mental illness, the psych meds." And I says, "No, I'm taking high doses of steroids because of my surgery. I had 2 sections of my intestines taken out, and and I almost died. Plus, I had the aneurysm." And so she had no mercy. 21 days I was in the hospital. 21 days is a long time for a gal in her early 40s, 50s to be in the hospital. Yeah, I was about 50 years old then. And I had suffered something horrible. And for her to make fun of me and for them to laugh at me just was heartbreaking. It was like being stabbed in the heart by her. And then for her friends to laugh at me made things even worse. I couldn't believe that they were laughing at me. And I couldn't help. I wanted to reach out and slap her, but I didn't. And I turned around and I went into the car, and she says, "Well, you could have fooled me. It sure thought you were there for mental illness. You know, because I heard that you had some mental breakdowns." I says, "Yeah, I had breakdowns. My hemoglobin I was so anemic, I almost died. My hemoglobin was 5. You can't live with that. I had 60 blood transfusions over the last 3 years. I was very sick. I had Crohn's disease. How could she be so cruel?" And she knew better than to do that, because that is saying stuff, personal medical information, in front of others. And let's say I was mentally ill. Let's say I was in there for mental illness and I did have a breakdown. People who suffer mental illness do not ask for it. It's not their fault. They suffer, and it's wrong, and we should never make fun of anybody having mental illness. I know it's kind of funny sometimes when they act weird, but we shouldn't never make fun. And her making fun of me like that was just as cruel as can get. And here she is building the church. Her and her husband are responsible for building the new Sandy Adventist Church there here in Sandy, Oregon. So it didn't have a good beginning. And I sat in my car before Larry came out, and I just sat there and I cried and cried and cried. And I thought, Everybody hates me. Nobody loves me. My own mother hadn't even sent me a card. My own mother never sent me a get well card. No one gave a damn about me. And I'd been sick for so long that I lost touch in going to church. No one gave a shit. I couldn't believe it. And my own mom and my own dad and my own sisters, my grandma, nobody sent me. Larry was the only one who cared enough to support me. I didn't ask for this Crohn's disease. And if I was mental illness, I wouldn't have asked to be mentally ill. And people who are mentally ill, they don't ask for it. And when I was a sheriff deputy, I didn't last very long because it was just hard in the early 70s when women were considered matrons, and the men didn't want us being their backup or the ones who helped them. So it was a struggle. And then because a lot of the women that are deputy sheriffs are manly, I'll just put it that way. I won't say that they're lesbians because a lot of times they are, but and that just wasn't me. And it was always an uphill battle, fighting with a man and fighting with the. And I thought, I know I would have been a good deputy. I would have made a really good investigator because I have spidey sense, really good spidey sense, and I would have taken a lot of child molesters and stuff off the street because you can't lie to me. Did you see that flock of birds? That was a bunch of the American goldfinch. So anyway, so I'm sitting in the car crying, and Larry comes out, and I tell him what Vivian had done, and I'm telling her name because you'll know why in a minute. And for her to be so cruel, I wanted to go to the church board and tell them what she had done to me, and that her little cronies had gone along with it. And Larry said, Cheryl, no, they don't care. You're not the wealthy person. She is. She's the one pulling the strings. She's the one building the church. You don't carry any weight. And what are you going to say? Well, she made fun of me. You know, they don't care. They don't care. They're not going to do anything. They'll just laugh at you. You have to let go and let God take care of it. And I said, but I want to beat her up. And I didn't want to wait for God to do something. But my husband said, you're not going to go to the church board. You're not going to send letters out. Let it go, Cheryl. You will see God in his time. He will take care and he will punish her. Just like David and Bathsheba. David fell in love with Bathsheba and he lusted over her, and she was married. And he was head of the army, and he put her husband in line to be killed so he could marry Bathsheba in God's eyes and be legal. But what he did was wrong, and God told him, okay, now there's a big hawk flying over. God told him that because you sinned and you had her husband killed, your baby is going to die. Your first child will die. And that's what happened. His first child died when it was a year old. So, there was consequences for their sin. And it was around Christmas time, and still nothing had happened. And I was just really bitter, and I stopped going to church because Vivian had made fun of me and her little cronies. Well, then the 6 o'clock news came out. Vivian got her comeuppance. God took care of her. Well, God didn't do it. God removed his protection because she hurt an innocent person. I'm not saying I was innocent, but I was weak, I was vulnerable. She hurt me to the core on purpose, make fun of me. Well, Christmas Day, her son blew her head off with a shotgun. And that is how Vivian Biggest died. You can look it up on the internet. It's been 10 years, I don't know, maybe longer. But I thought, wow, God doesn't cause these horrible things to happen, but He removes His protection when we hurt others, when we lie, when we blaspheme God. And Cheryl Cadle, she got her comeuppance too. She lied to Chris Watts and the Watts family, saying that her book was going to be about his Christian redemption, when it was not. It was, this is my opinion only, so who knows? It just could be different. But from what I understand, she told the Watts family it was about a Christian redemption, when all it was to get her foot in the door to write a book about Chris Watts, and she really hurt the Rusak family. So, and her grandson was killed, and her book was taken off the. And I told her, I wrote and told her that because you have lied, you blasphemed God, and that was not a book about his Christian redemption. You lied, and you will see that bad things will happen. Your book will come off the shelf before it's even sold. And I wrote that, but I took that video down. Maybe I should have put it back up. But that's what happened. Is her book was exposed as being a fraud. She plagiarized, and so she lost everything. And she's not doing good. Everybody saw what a crappy author, so-called author, she is. But she lost God's protection because she lied. She used God's name and lied. And the same thing happens to those that do that. And I believe, I'm not saying that someone's son died because they did something, but it extends out to your whole family, like the story of David and Bathsheba. It extended to their child. So I'm afraid this isn't over with the mean kitchen queen. If she doesn't stop, worse things are going to happen. Now we have to be careful when we hurt others on purpose, that we lose God's protection. But this is my opinion. This is my beliefs, because as a Christian, I believe the Bible. But God doesn't cause all these bad things, but he has to let go. When you lie and are mean to others, you choose to be part of Satan's, part of evil. You choose to not have God's protection, because there's only two sides. There's only God's side or Satan's side. There is no middle ground. So when you choose to do evil, God cannot protect you, because you've chosen to do Satan's fightings. But I know it sounds a little crazy, and that's my belief as a Christian. But I think that someone better be very, very careful. And She, they need to apologize. They need to stop lying. They need to admit they're wrong. They need to stop the bullshit. It needs to stop, because if it continues, it's only going to get worse. And she's probably going to have a mental breakdown, more than what we see. She's going to be wearing that a white jacket with a lot of buckles on it. And the same goes for Barry Morphew. He is going to suffer God's wrath so bad it's not funny. You wait and see. Something bad is going to happen to Northview. God has removed his protection. Satan may not be done using him yet, but you wait and see. It's not going to be good. Same way with Chris Watts. He chose to do evil, and he continues to choose against God, to do things for Satan. So that's my soapbox. To Angela, is today your mom's? My mom has a heavenly birthday tomorrow. She would be 80. No, I can't read. 93. You know what? We'll see our loved ones again. I know it's not the same as having them here on earth, but one day all this mess is going to be over. We'll have no more pain, no more sorrow, no more making fun of others. So I'm sorry, Angela. Everybody give Angela a hug and pray for them. Pray for her. And pray for others. And I know there's a couple of you in here, I'm not going to say what, but they're struggling with the health issues, and their loved ones are struggling with serious issues that could lead to total devastation. So when I was younger, I hated drug addicts. Oh my gosh. To me, there was nothing worse than a drug addict. They were nothing but scum of the earth. And me and another deputy, we would take a 15-passenger van, and so we'd load it up with 13 prisoners, and we'd take me and another. So we'd take 13 prisoners to the clinic, to the methadone clinic, so they can get their methadone. And they were all, they're all excited and everything. And I'm thinking, oh, ew, what a bunch of creeps. They're going to go get their methadone, and they're going to come all back. They're all groggy and everything. And that just used to piss me off to no end, because the government was paying for them to get high. And I just thought it was ridiculous that they got high and did drugs and stuff like that. And then as I worked with some of them, got to know them, I would hear their stories, their mom, they grew up in foster care, or their dad molested them, or they just had a horrible life, were beaten, and I got to hear their personal stories, and my heart just kind of softened, because these women, these people that do drugs and overdose, and they steal to buy their drugs. They prostitute so they can get their next fix, because that next fix alters their brain enough to where they don't have to think about or feel that raw emotion of being molested as a child. And I started seeing them in a different light, and that these were people that were hurting. Of course, I had the same thing, only I chose a different path. And I chose a different path because I had gone to church and I had the Lord in my life, and I chose that over drugs. But then I'm not perfect because I have my own dysfunction. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not perfect. So I got to meet some of these women and get to know their stories, and I felt bad for them because can you imagine having to have sex with some creepy, where you just want to throw up, have to have sex with them just so you can get a few dollars to have some heroin to help your mind get changed. I just can't imagine. And so I began to feel sorry for them. Now I didn't ever go along with them and say, "Oh yay," but I got to know them, and it breaks my heart that we judge them. We call them, drug addicts and meth heads and creeps and everything else, but they all have a story. They all have a sad story behind them. There's a reason why they need drugs to cover up their feelings. You don't know. You don't know as a child like me. My uncle made me do things that were just something no little girl could have to do. He called it the one-eyed snake. And I tell you, it's just a nightmare for me when sometimes I have to think about that and I get triggered. And I am so beyond blessed to have a husband who provides me with a wonderful home. And it's not without, you know, fault and things like that. So, and my battery's dying here. So, my life isn't perfect, but I'm so glad I have a good husband. He's had cancer, oral cancer, because of the HPV virus that I was given from a rapist who got me pregnant. And my son finally found out that I had lied to him who his father was. And so he did a DNA test. And he was going to go visit him and everything. He was mean to my husband because he felt arrogant about finding his real father. Well, that didn't work out so well because his real father has spent most of his life in prison because what he does is he rapes. And he did that to his own daughter, 5-year-old. So I guess that showed my son that his real sperm donor wasn't so good. Anyway, well, thank you all for coming, and I think someone should be careful. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not saying let's be mean. And I don't think exposing what she's doing is being mean. It's just telling it like it is. Because a lot of people don't understand. They don't see the damage that she's done. And I watched Jules of God break down and just cry her heart out. And I thought, oh dear God, please don't cry like that. Over what was being said about her. The ugly things that she was being called and that weren't true. And she was hurt. It just really hurt her that she was on the sauce and that she put on so much makeup she had to use a trowel. And that the MERB is saying how pretty and beautiful she is. And you know what? All that could be gone in a second. when she loses her protection from God. You wait and see. It's not going to be pretty, and I guarantee you it will happen. So stay safe out there, people. Don't be mean to anybody. Be kind. Practice random acts of kindness. Oh, yeah, here. The other day, when we took Harshita back to the airport, Larry was crying. He really was. He could hardly drive. His eyes were swollen. He really loved having the girls because we don't have any children at home anymore. And the two girls that we adopted don't have anything to do with us because, we're monsters. And, oh, yeah, they want to know how much inheritance they're getting. Ask our lawyer. You're going to love it. Yeah, you're going to love that $1. And so Larry was taking pictures of us. He says, let's get a selfie in front of Chipotle. So I said, hurry, hurry, because there was a lady, was going to get in front of us, and I didn't want her to get in front of me. And so we hurried, took a picture, and so I opened the door and got in. I thought, phew, I got in front of her. And then I thought, that was not nice. Here, there's three of us and just one of her. Why did I get in front of her? So I said, you know what? I feel bad. You get in front of us. You go ahead of us. And she says, oh, thank you. And I said, you're probably working and only have a little bit of time. She says, yeah, that's true. So we ordered our dinner, about $39 worth of food. She paid for it. I couldn't believe it. I almost fainted. What a sweet woman. I cried. I could not believe it. And then she walked out, and so I went to pay for our dinner, and she goes, no. She wanted to pay for it for you because you were kind. I thought, oh my God, that really made our day. We have enough money to buy our own meal, but we needed the love. It wasn't about money. It was about the love that she showed us by paying for our meal. So random acts of kindness, doesn't mean just for people that got money or poor. Do that for somebody. And I urge you to do something today to make a difference in somebody else's life. Call somebody you haven't talked to in a long time. Take a bowl of soup to your neighbor. Pick a flower and take it to somebody old or somebody that's lonely. And if somebody is begging on the street, Jesus never asked them, what are you going to do with that money? Are you going to buy drugs or squander it? Jesus gave it to them. And it's not up to us to judge what coins we give or what we donate to somebody. So don't hesitate to give. But don't be foolish and hand a drug addict $10. But then again, maybe he needs that fixed really bad because he has these terrible feelings. He needs to alter his feelings. I can understand that now. So my view on drug addicts has changed, and also the same way with begging. People that beg, we should not judge them, and we should not question what they're going to do with their blessing that we give to them, because Jesus never asked them, what are you going to do with that money? Use it for drugs. Anyway, thank you for listening, and go with God, and thank you so much. And hit the thumbs up. Oh, thank you. Hell to the no. I'm going to add you as a moderator. Anybody else want to be a moderator? Oh, thank you so much. Yes, Jules of God is a lovely soul, and I have proof. I have irrefutable proof that she's a wonderful person. Anyway, God bless. Go with God. And remember, do something kind. Practice random acts of kindness, even if it's to turn around and smile at somebody or see a little kid. I don't know. Just find a way to be kind. There's a million ways we can be kind. It doesn't have to be with money. It can be with a smile or turn around and say, wow, I really like your dress. Where'd you get that? At the thrift store? That's like what Portia did. Like Cheryl's wearing my aunt's old dress that she gave to the Goodwill or she gave to the church Dorcas. Ha 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 ha, look at Cheryl. I tell you, I almost committed suicide over that. I really did. I wanted to die because she made me feel so horrible. And I ran out into the woods, and that was the first time I ever had a panic attack. Is because she could be so cruel as to make fun of my clothing that I did get from the church Dorcas. Anyway, go do some good today, and God bless. And I think those that are creators, like Gray Hughes, he gives a portion of his. Gray Hughes is really good at covering true crime, and he gives a portion of his proceeds to help others. So check him out. Anybody got a link for Gray Hughes? So we all, each one can reach one. My daughter used to sing that. The girl we adopted, she had a beautiful voice. She sang with the Heritage Singers. Anyway, see y'all later. Thank you so much. God bless. Love you.